We continue with the reading of the Noble Eightfold Path. Previously we mentioned or read about in chapter 4, we spoke of right livelihood, Sama Ajiva is the Pali word for it. We spoke about or read about abstaining from sexual misconduct, Kamisu Mikakara Viramani, the Pali word for it. Chapter 4 also spoke about abstaining from taking that which is not given, Adinna Dana Vimani. Viramani is the Pali word for it. We also spoke about right action, Sama Kamanta, abstaining from taking life, it's killing insects and animals. We also read the chapter on abstaining from idle chatter, abstaining from harsh speech, abstaining from slanderous speech, abstaining from false speech. And that was very interesting, chapter 4. We spoke of right speech, right action, right livelihood. We are now going to embark on chapter 5 of the Noble Eightfold Path that the Buddhas handed down to us some 2,500 years ago. Right effort, chapter 5. The purification of conduct established by the prior three factors serves as the basis for the next division of the path, the division of concentration. Samadikanda is the Pali word for it, concentration. This present phase of practice, which advances from moral restraint to direct mental training, comprises the three factors of right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So, we're talking about right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Three very important factors relating to right effort. Right effort cannot just be right effort. Right effort needs to be supported by right concentration, right mindfulness. It gains its name from the goal to which it aspires, the power of sustained concentration. The power of sustained concentration. How well can you sustain your concentration? Before it runs away, like a monkey in a tree, chasing all the fruit. Sustained concentration is what the Buddha wants us to practice. Itself requires as the support for insight wisdom. It's a support to achieve a deep level of concentration and insight wisdom. We will touch on that later on. Wisdom is the primary tool for deliverance, but the penetrating vision it yields can only open up when the mind has been composed and collected. Right concentration brings the requisite stillness to the mind by unifying it with the undistracted focus on a suitable object. This is where the Buddha talks about right concentration on a suitable object without your mind running away, without your mind scattering. The Buddha talks about the unifying of the mind. To do so, however, the factor of concentration needs the aid of effort and mindfulness. Right effort provides the energy demanded by the task. Right mindfulness and steadying points of awareness. It requires mindfulness to achieve a deep level of concentration. This is what the Buddha is going to give us some training and some tips on how to achieve that. The commentators illustrate the interdependence of the three factors within the concentration group with a simple simile. Three boys go to a park to play. While walking along, they see a tree with flowering tops and decide they want to gather the flowers. But the flowers are beyond the reach even for the tallest boy. Then one friend bends down and offers his back. The tall boy climbs up but still hesitates to reach the flowers from the fear of falling. They're climbing on top of each other so they can reach the flowers. So the third boy comes over and offers his shoulder for support. The first boy, standing on the back of the second boy, then lands on the shoulder of the third boy, reaches up and gathers the flowers. Eventually they reach the flowers. But it took the three of them to stand on each other, in each other's back, to reach the level of the flowers, to gather the flowers. So it takes three, not one. In this simile, the tall boy who picks the flowers represents concentration. So the first function, with its function of unifying the mind. Concentration, focus on unification of the mind. But to unify the mind, concentration needs support. You can't achieve concentration without any support. You need the other two to help you achieve a high level of concentration, a high level of unification of the mind. The energy provided by right effort, which is like the boy who offers his back, it also requires the stabilizing awareness provided by mindfulness, which is like the boy who offers his shoulder. When right concentration receives this support, then empowered by right effort and balanced by right mindfulness, it can draw in the scattered strands of thought and fix the mind firmly on its subject. So you need concentration in the beginning, but concentration on its own is not going to achieve success. It also needs a very deep level of mindfulness, of awareness. Yeah? Bring together all the strands of thought to one thought. Energy, viraya. Energy, viraya is the Pali word for it. The mental factor behind right effort can appear in either wholesome or unwholesome forms. The same factor fuels desire, aggression, violence, and ambition on the one hand, and generosity, self-discipline, kindness, concentration, and understanding on the other. The exertion involved in right effort is a wholesome form of energy, but it is something more specific, namely the energy in wholesome states of consciousness, directed to liberation from suffering. This last qualifying phrase is especially important. For wholesome energy to become a contributor to the path, it has to be guided by right view and right intention. Right view and right intention. And to work in association with the other path factors. Otherwise, as the energy in ordinary wholesome states of mind, it merely engenders an accumulation of merit that ripens within the round of birth and death, It does not issue in liberation from the round. So there's got to be two factors governing your path. The first being the right view and the right intention. So you got the right view, you know where you're going to, you got a good picture of what you want to achieve, and your intention has to be right as well. It has to be right. Your intention. What do you intend to achieve? What's your intention? Your intent is to unify your thoughts through the assistance of concentration, of mindfulness. Concentration in the beginning, then mindfulness, and then the unification of all your thoughts into one thought, and your total awareness. This is what the Buddha wants us to achieve. So, time and again the Buddha has stressed the need for effort, for diligence, exertion, and unflagging perseverance. This is what the Buddha expects of us. It's a high expectation, but if you want to achieve a very high level of concentration, of the unification of your thoughts in a mindful way, and achieve your intent, right? So the Buddha says that, well, time and again the Buddha continues. He stresses, he goes out of his way and mentions it in many of his sutras. The need for effort. You initially have to still make the effort. It takes a lot of energy to make effort. It takes diligence. It takes exertion, yeah, and unflagging perseverance. You need to stick to your task. You need to be committed. You can't be running here and there. You've got to be focused, totally focused and concentrated. The reason why effort is so crucial is that each person has to work out his or own deliverance. It's an individual thing. It's something you've got to work it out. Something you've got to work out on your own. You've got to work out what's the level of my exertion? How am I going to exert myself? And how much am I going to persevere towards achieving that goal? So this is it. The Buddha does what he can by pointing out the path by liberation. By pointing out the path to liberation. We're not liberated yet. It is just pointing out the path to us. We've got to pick the path up and we've got to persevere with the path. That's his expectation. The rest involves putting the path into practice, a task that demands energy. This energy is to be applied to the cultivation of the mind, which forms the focus of the entire path. The starting point is the defiled mind, afflicted and deluded. The goal is the liberated mind, purified and illuminated by wisdom. So there we go. Initially, your mind's totally defiled. It's afflicted, totally confused and scattered. But through constant practice, through perseverance, the mind steadily becomes liberated. Liberated from all those defilements, from all those impurities, through concentration and mindfulness, through the unification of the mind, right? Through the total awareness of what you're doing, and through the effort of perseverance. You need to persevere. This is what the Buddha says. It doesn't come in one day. The Buddha gives you the path. He offers you the road map. He does all that. He's done it all. It's up to us to to have the effort, to make the effort, to have the energy and the perseverance in achieving the end result of liberation. Okay, so this is it. The Buddha does what he can by putting out the path to liberation. The rest involves putting the path into practice, a task that demands energy. The energy is to be applied to the cultivation of the mind. That's where the energy needs to be applied. Which forms the focus of the entire path. The starting point is the defiled mind, afflicted and deluded. Yeah? The goal is the liberated mind, purified and illuminated by wisdom. What comes in between is the unremitting effort to transform the defiled mind into the liberated mind. That's the effort. That's the effort that we need to make. The pathway has been set down by the Buddha. The work of self-cultivation is not easy. There is no one who can do it for us but ourselves. But it is not impossible. There's no one that can do it for us. We need to make the effort and do it ourselves. That's the end of story. You either get up and do it and persevere with energy and constancy to achieve the end result, or let go of it. The Buddha set the path down for us. It's up to us to make the effort towards that liberation that we're seeking. That escape from all those defilements, from all those delusions. Yeah, the Buddha is saying, you need to get out of, you need to leave behind all those delusions and liberations and all those defilements. Yeah? This is the pathway. The work of the self-cultivation is not easy. There is no one who can do it for us but ourselves. But it is not impossible. The Buddha himself and his accomplished disciples provide the living proof that the task is not beyond our reach. They assure us, too, that anyone who follows the path can accomplish the same goal. But what is needed is effort. The work of practice taken up with determination. Take the practice up with determination. I shall not give up my effort until I have attained whatever is attainable, by mainly perseverance, energy and endeavor. There we go. It takes energy. Yeah? It takes perseverance. Yeah? And endeavor. Some new words emerging here. Yeah? So there we go. So, the nature of the mental process effects are division of right effort into 4 great endeavors. There are 4 great endeavors. So, to prevent the arising of unrisen, unwholesome states. That's the first one. And the second, to abandon unwholesome states that have already arisen. Unwholesome states that have already arisen. To abandon them. And the third, to arouse wholesome states that have not yet arisen. To arouse or invoke wholesome states that have not yet arisen, that have not yet emerged or showed themselves. And the fourth, to maintain and perfect wholesome states already arisen. To maintain those states, to empower those states, to take care of that state of wholesomeness, the state of being wholesome, of being liberated. It doesn't come and it doesn't go. But once you've achieved it, you need to maintain it. You need to sustain it. You need to continue holding on to it, or else those unwholesome states will be overtaking you, and you'll soon be losing that liberated state of mind. And this is what the Buddha talks about, these four great endeavors. That's what he calls it. These are four great endeavors, or four great practices, if you want to call it that. Endeavor is a good word. Endeavor. Yeah? The unwholesome states, akusala dhamma, are the defilements and the thoughts, emotions and intentions derived from them, whether breaking forth into action or remaining confined within. The wholesome states, kusala dhamma, are states of mind untrained, untainted. Okay? Are states of mind untainted by defilements, especially those conducing to deliverance or conducive to deliverance. Each of the two kinds of mental states imposes a double task. The unwholesome side requires that the defilements laying dormant to prevent it be prevented from erupting, and that the active defilements already present be expelled. It's quite an effort. It takes a lot of effort, perseverance, a lot of energy to achieve that level of liberation. The wholesome side requires that the undeveloped liberating factors first be brought into being, then persistently developed to the point of full maturity. Now we will examine each of these four divisions of right effort. So we're going to go into further investigation into what do we mean by right effort. And these four wholesome states, how are we going to achieve it? The Buddha gives us a very clear path here. Now we will examine each of these four divisions of right effort, giving special attention to their most fertile field of application, the cultivation of the mind through meditation. Now there we go. The next part, we're going to investigate the depth of each one of these, to prevent the arising of unarisen, unwholesome states, to prevent those unwholesome states from arising. And the second, to abandon unwholesome states that have already been arisen. Now, you may be in a state where you are experiencing unwholesomeness. Well, how do you abandon that? This is it. We're going to have a method. Buddha gives us a very clear method on how to achieve it. And the third, to arouse wholesome states that have not yet arisen. To arouse, to invoke those wholesome states to emerge that have not yet arisen. So they have not arisen, they have not manifested yet. How do we allow and invoke those unarisen wholesome states to arise? And the fourth, to maintain the perfect wholesome states already arisen. So there we go, there's a lot there. So it's a lot to chew over, to read over, to understand our destination. And you see, you're not just going to achieve that destination. You're going to work towards the removal of all those defilements, those delusions, You're going to bring together the scattered mind into a united mind of concentration, the effort of concentration and mindfulness. That's what the Buddha says we should be doing. Then the unification, then the clear picture of where we're coming from, where we're going to. Our destination, we have to have that clear in our mind. Where are we going to? With all these implementations. Where are we going to? What are we going to achieve at the end of all this? So there we go. See, very clear understanding of where we're coming from, what we need to do, what we need to persevere with, the energy required to achieve it. So this is it. So, until next time, when we embark on the first effort, or the great endeavor, the four great endeavors, we're going to embark on the four great endeavors. And the first one is to prevent the arising of unwholesome states. And that will be the first. Then we're going to go on to the second, third, and fourth. Great endeavors, that's what the Buddha calls it. It's quite an endeavor. It takes a lot of effort. It takes lots of perseverance. So, if you enjoyed the reading or the listening of this part of the Noble Eightfold Path, and have taken something from it, and it's pointing you towards the achieving or the methodology in achieving the four great endeavors, this is the right effort. It's the correct effort. It's the pathway to liberation. So, it is. So until then, have a great day and stay safe until we meet again. The next reading is going to be on the first endeavor. How are we going to achieve the first endeavor? To prevent the arising of unwholesome states. How are we going to prevent the arising of all those unwholesome states? How are we going to prevent it? What are we going to do? What's our practice going to involve? What degree of concentration will be required? How mindful we need to be? Etc., etc. It goes on. So, until next time, have a great day and hope to see you then again.